Eric Fowles is the master and commander of the Voltage ship. Supplying a hearty dose of creativity and good cheer, he provides clients with inspiring vision of what they can look like, accomplish, and transcend in the e-commerce landscape. After opening its doors in 2008, Eric transformed Voltage from a two-man shop in the basement to a multi-million-dollar award-winning enterprise. Companies that have partnered with Voltage include Adidas, Reebok, Chipotle, Outlet Care, Fowles Raven, Smartwool, and Fly Frontier. As promised, we will now give away 2 Fowles Raven backpacks and 10 Chipotle gift cards to those who participated in our Instagram giveaway. If your name is called, you've won a backpack. Please come up and collect it. First, these are the winners of our Chipotle social media giveaway. Can we give a round of applause to all those that have won these gift cards? Each of them, as well as the person that they tagged, will receive those Chipotle gift cards. You can find me after forum today, and we'll have those for you. All right, now the big giveaway, the backpacks. First winner of our backpack is... Go ahead and transition. All right. Congratulations, Kenna Maloney. Come on up and collect your backpack. You were first, so you get to choose red or blue. Red. All right. Congratulations.
All right, thank you. I'll just let you guys see a little intro to our... All right, ready to get the party going. Thank you. Really excited to be here. Hello, SVU. This is exciting. This is our version of Voltage and coming to your school. But I wanted to first just show you a few things we've done, and then I'll talk a little bit about the business that I founded. I love the great intro you gave me, but the reality is I'm a scrappy creative entrepreneur. So I feel like, and you're going to find out a little bit about that today when I share my story. But I'll show you a few clips, and then we'll talk about it.
Into the stars is here for the taking. Yeah, I'm here and I'm going to chase it. It's in my blood, it's in my veins, I'm here for the game. I'm out of this cage, my light will not fade. I'm breaking away, I'm on my own team, and I bet you I'ma win. Step into the kingdom, cause I'm shining from within. Better know that I won't take no steps back. Giving it my all, I go until the last. That's why I'm running. Every blockade laid in my way, I overcome it. Created the pain, never away. I bet I want it. Day after day, into the grave, to the hunt. That's why I'm running. That's why I'm
running. Life is a journey. What you pack, what you wear, can take you to the outskirts, can take you to the edge, places that you'll never forget. Fowles Raven. Apparel, packs, tents, and adventures since 1960. Visit fowlesraven.us or call for our catalog.
Did you know Frontier Airlines is green as? Taking 192,457 cars off the road. Green as a compost bin full of kale. Green as planting trees, 1 million acres of them. Green as a guy named Green McGreenerson on St. Patrick's Day riding a green bicycle. Green as saving 15.2 billion plastic bottles. Green as letting it mellow. Green as a giant flock of escaped pet parrots. Green as 158,077 homes not using electricity for a year. Green as a green large celebrity, minus the private jet. Green as Meatless Monday, every day, forever. Green as recycling 39.5 million full trash bags of waste. Green as millions and millions of green smoothies. Green as 359 billion straws disappearing from the ocean. Green as saving 102 million gallons of fuel. Green as Frontier, America's greenest airline. Learn more at flygreener.com.
The Conkin by Fjallraven. Go to fjallraven.us to unpack your adventure today.
All right. Thanks. I think that's the first time we've ever had clapping for these. This is content we create for the web and to sell backpacks, which on the Today Show, I think it was just a few months ago, they claimed the Conkin as the best-selling backpack ever, which is kind of fun because we helped launch the brand in the U.S. They've been around for about 30 years in Sweden, Fjallraven, and they were considered as more of like a outdoor brand. But when we brought them here to the U.S., it was a different vibe that we wanted to present. So we filmed these videos. That was one of them that you saw, and got an influencer to work with us on this campaign, and it was really successful. And we targeted that kind of hipster market, but that's kind of what my agency does. So over the last 10 plus years, I've ran Voltage, started it, in a basement, like they mentioned, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But this is just some, examples of the work we've done for Adidas. We've helped their e-com team for over 6 years grow their brand, and help them release shoes and launch content every month. And they've been a really cool brand to work with, especially with their kind of mantra of being creators. So, we have fun with it. Show you some, that was my favorite one, but this is a color story. We launched things for Coachella. We did a thing for the Boston Marathon that let you download your video right as you finished the marathon, and it was branded Adidas. We're working with Black Diamond right now. Climbing an apparel company in Salt Lake. So we help them on their website and other creative things that are going to be happening soon. Chipotle we've worked with for a long time, and we've basically for 5 years supported them in their fundraising efforts. And so my team of my agency consists of creative writers, account managers, strategists, designers, and then we have another whole team of developers and computer coders. And the project for Chipotle was a lot of coding on the back end. We created a software that helps them do all your local fundraisers. So if you ever see a high school running a fundraiser, we facilitate that. And it's been a huge source of growth for them. This is a hair care brand that was launched. So these are called D2C brands or direct-to-consumer brands. And it's taken off and is now in Sephora and other things. The weekend this launched, they sold out the product. It's Jen Atkins is the stylist for Kim Kardashian, and she helped promote that. So, but one of the things about our agency that makes us unique is we believe that we can be a force for good, and I believe that business has the power to be a force for good. And in this setting, I can be a little more intimate with you guys and really share some stories because I have a strong testimony of the church, and it's been a big part of the growth of our company and my life story. So I want to share a little bit about how that's been involved, and this being a force for good is part of that. I was actually in a private meeting with one of my key employees, and I remember telling him, I think as we grow our company, because some of the questions when you start a business are, do we hire more people? Do we keep growing? And I said, I think we can be more of a force for good if we try and grow this business and keep, this culture. Because I kind of started the company with the idea I want to create the agency that I would want to work in. I just want to create the place where I want to be. And I'll tell you more about how he created it, because it was out of some kind of trial and error too that it started. But I'll get there in a moment. But to go back to this mission of being a force for good, he said, that sounds really cool. And it was actually something that was in my Patriarchal Blessing. It said, you'll be a force for good. And so I remember reading that, and I thought, and he just latched onto that and said, this is what the mission of the company should be. And so I thought that was great. So we ended up, kind of like sharing it more with our employees, talking about it more as a company. Eventually, it became something that our clients became involved in, to where they actually get to participate in where we donate funds. We take 4% of our profits, and we donate them to different organizations. So, but it's been really cool. And one of the cool things about it is, at the time that we were doing this, I remember we put out applications for programmers and coders, and Google had opened an office in Boulder, and it was really hard to get talent. We couldn't really compete. I didn't have like a cafeteria with all you can eat whenever you want, and the Google salary. But so we changed our job descriptions from saying, hey, we need you, to someone that knows JavaScript and all this, to, do you want to be a force for good? Do you want to work for a company that believes they can make a difference and that has this culture and it's family friendly? And it was amazing, the results we got. We started to get tons of resumes, and it attracted all these people that believe in that same thing and believe in that culture. And to this day, I have employees that will send me letters and talk to me about how much they love the environment, when they are so talented and could probably work wherever they want. So it's been a real driver for our business. So, you may look at things and think, wow, I'm living my best life. And I am every day, right? Your best life is just the next day. That's the best. But it's interesting, when you see social media, and I'm so involved in it with marketing, and, everyone posts their best life, whatever's happening, but you never get to see the grit and the determination and sometimes the pitfalls that go in behind what got them to that picture or that point. I mean, I'm sure those dogs didn't like getting put in that swing. But they're sure enjoying it now. At least you think they are, right? So what I wanted to do is just kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and share with you guys my life journey, because it wasn't that long ago that, I was sitting in a scenario like this in college, and I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do? I had some ideas, but now that I look back, what I thought then is totally different than where I am now. And there's some things that guided me and helped me along the way. So I'm going to share that with you. But just as an example, that video we watched for Solid Core. Solid Core is a new kind of exercise. We call it the torture chamber, because those things look like torture devices. And from people that do it, they feel like they're getting tortured. But, it's an awesome looking video. But that's not real sweat. That's actually like a solution we contrived that looked like the best sweat you could possibly make, because sweat doesn't actually look like that. And it's Vaseline, so beautiful torso, of course. But, these are some of the things that people don't realize. Like, sometimes the appearance isn't all that it is. So we, use a lot of tricks, and there's a big crew that goes into making a video like that. We have people with lights and cameras and setting the stage and directing people, doing multiple takes, as I'm sure a lot of you in the performance area here know about. And that's our creative director at the end of the day. He just gave up and just succumbed to the torture device. So we just let him do that. So, that's the question. How do you live your best life? Well, this kind of thought came to me a while ago. My son, I have 6 kids, and our oldest got back from a mission. He went to Santa Fe, Argentina. And when he came back, was going to school, and I was thinking, I wonder what I can tell him about, how to stay on track. He had such a high mission. He loved his mission. And I was actually at the temple, and these ideas came to me, and so I thought I'd share them with you. And it's basically your Sunday school answers, but it came to me in this way to, talk to God, listen to God, and walk with God. And how do you do that? Well, you've heard the saying, if you want to talk to God, you pray to Him. If you want to listen to Him, read His words, right? Or go where you can hear His voice. And then walking with God is just doing what He asks, getting engaged in His work. And that all ties into my story, and you'll see it in a few stories I'm going to share with you guys today. But like I said, I've been in business over 11 years, but it's been a lifetime in the making. I've always been an artist and creative. Never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur, but I think we've all been made to create and to create things. I think God put us here to create all kinds of things, whether they're inventions or an environment or, artwork, things that inspire us. And even at an early age, Richard might enjoy this because I knew Richard, George, growing up. This is me.
Wonderful forecast. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Mike?
We love kid entrepreneur stories, and this one was just too good to pass up. You ever seen these little belts like this? Now, this is a real simple little belt, but some of these are much fancier, that sort of thing. These belts are made by a couple of guys from Cherry Creek High School, and they are sold in 4 states. We'd like you to meet 16-year-old Eric Fowles and 15-year-old Justin Klum, and we thank you for coming. Now, your company is called Le Cinch, and you guys, you import this fabric, and you come up with the clasp, and you actually manufacture these. Hey, Eric, how'd you come up with this idea?
We were, mountain climbing. And we...
Okay, that's enough. Just to give you a taste. That goes on, and it's extremely uncomfortable. And I remember that day, and Justin and I were great friends. We were just goofing off, couldn't even believe we were on TV. But we started a belt business in junior high, and we had what we called the 10 Commandments. We had this idea from a scout trip we went on. One of these rock climbers had a belt he had made, and we said, we should make these and sell them at school. And we did, and we sold them in our high school. And eventually we got a sales rep, and she took them to other states, and we would travel around. Our parents would drive us to Vail, and we'd make sales, and we'd get a check for $600, and we'd literally go spend it before we even got back to the car. We'd go buy CDs or something silly, and then we had to, pay back the money she lent us to make the belt. So I learned all these things the hard way, but I've always been driven to kind of create things, see things, and want to make things that I think are cool. And this is how I got my first kind of introduction to graphic design. This is back in the day in a class in high school where I pasted up a business card. And if you look really close on the bottom, it says, "Note, this card will self-destruct in 3 seconds." We thought that was so clever. So we weren't the most professional businessmen, but we were doing business and we were creating things people wanted and there was a demand for. Later in high school, one of my friends was a good photographer and we loved skiing. So we ended up making a ski magazine. Why not, right? That's what I love about entrepreneurship, about the country we live in. You can make whatever you dream. So we actually ended up getting a sponsor too. I still made it when I was at BYU before my mission. And that's my friend. And we made sweatshirts and headbands and we got featured in Powder Magazine. We had a picture in our magazine of us burning Ski Magazine because we just thought it wasn't true to skiing roots anymore. And that got us a lot of attention too. But I've always been an entrepreneur, and when I look back on my life's journey, I see that's what I'm doing now. I'm helping other entrepreneurs find opportunity, create cool things, create things that people want. So I wanted to share that with you guys because as you go in life too, you'll see little hints of your life that come to play into what you end up doing. And I wanted to share this picture with you guys too because this is me in college at BYU. I was a design intern in New York City. My wife's there and next to me. She came out to visit me. I didn't know she liked me. She thinks I should have known, but anyways, it's a long story. But she came out to visit, and it was great fun. And Christian was a good friend of mine, and now I do a lot of business with him. And I show people this slide, especially students your age, because the people you guys are meeting right now in your lives are people you will probably work with and be with, throughout your life, and they'll bring connections to you. And so keep track of those relationships, make good friends, get to know people. It's very important because I have a lot of those relationships still from college. It was such a key time in my life. But let me tell you a little bit about starting Voltage because it is an interesting story. And just like, living my best life and, putting forward that great, that's what we do as marketers, put forth the best picture possible. Underneath it, there's usually a lot of trial and a lot of trouble. Well, before I started Voltage, and people would ask me this too, like, wow, you started this successful company, way to go. And I said, yeah, you didn't realize I also started a real failure of a company before this. And for 7 years, I had a partner, and I had, right out of college, gone to work in Boulder for a design firm, and then we ended up spinning up a little design studio, and it was right before September 11th. So if any of you can imagine the environment after September 11th, business literally stopped for 6 months. And we had just left, and this is the scenario I was in. Well, almost there. But when I first started, I didn't have the twins. But before I started Voltage, I was having the twins. So, but when I first started, I was real excited and a little naive about what I was getting into, and then all of a sudden we had no work at all. And it was kind of a struggle, but I look back and it really taught me how to hustle and how to go out. And we worked so hard. I did design for anyone under the sun, and we built any kind of website for anyone. Sometimes didn't get paid very much at all. I remember going to a client's house at like midnight, sitting on the front doorstep, texting him, or not, I don't think I had text, I was calling him, I'm not leaving until we get paid because I have to pay my employees tomorrow. Those kind of scenarios. We kissed a lot of frogs, so to say. But I also became a really good designer. I also learned a lot about business. I spent a lot of time doing that. And like I said, after those years, we got to another point where the business was really struggling in 2008. So it was about 5 or 6 years. And this is the scenario I was in. I had twins and our other kids. And I basically left the business I was in, the kind of where we crashed and bailed. And I remember I was in the bishopric around this time, and our bishop had said, hey, 99% of your problems will be solved. I think it was something President Hinckley said, if you go to the temple frequently. And I was in dire straits, so I'm like, I'm going every week. And, I definitely have ADHD. Like, I'm not a, sit very still type of guy. So it was a little hard for me to do that, but I started doing it, and I came to just love the temple. And as soon as I started doing that, things did not get better. Things got worse. We got into more debt. We had more problems. We had car troubles. You name it. But I kept doing that, and it got to a point where there was this one specific day where the name Voltage came to my mind. An old client of ours came and called me and said, hey, I need a creative director, and the partnership I was in wasn't working, so I told my wife finally. I don't think she totally even knew the dire circumstances we were in. But I left that day. I took a flight to Boca Raton, and I started working in Florida for this guy, and had to leave that old business. And I was already, kind of hit ground zero financially, and so I had no option. But while I was out there, all these people that I'd worked so hard for were calling me, Eric, we want you to work for us. Eric, we love what you did. And I remember telling my wife, hey, this is when I need to probably come back and work with these people. We have nowhere to go but up. So I came back and I started Voltage. And that's where I really learned this part of praying. I prayed a lot. And these are some of the early pictures. It was literally me in a basement, but it was a lot of fun. There were no windows in it. The world could have ended, and I wouldn't have had any clue. It was just, it was kind of nice because we spent a lot of late nights, and I had, this is Stephen, who is now our president, and he was one of my scouts. He was one of my Eagle Scouts. But he came back from his mission, and I needed someone to help me with a big catalog, and I knew he was a computer genius. I said, Stephen, can you hack into InDesign and code something that will throw all these products? We had a fly fishing catalog we were designing, over 5,000 flies into this layout. And he did, and it was amazing, and we got it done. But he's the president of the company, working with me. He's built our technical team and got his MBA at BYU and everything. So, and Seth over there on the right was with me for a long time. And we finally ended up buying the next storage room next to us and painting another logo on the wall. And that was the first job of the intern there. And we just have great stories from those days in the basement. I remember we bought this room, and there was a fridge in it. And so it was great. It was a little fridge. And so we'd actually we didn't, before we bought the room, we'd go over there and use this fridge, and we put our lunch in it. And then one day we went over there, and it was gone. And Steven's like, oh, the fridge is gone. My lunch was in it. So we went upstairs. They were having a garage sale. It was out there. So we bought the fridge with his lunch in it and brought it back down. And then eventually got, the room too. So it was it was like a $20 sandwich we had to buy. But, then we eventually moved up to the top floor of our building and hired more employees and put more graphics on the wall. It's pretty much what we do. So we're not getting paid. We just paint things on our walls. This was one of our early Christmas cards. I think it was around 2000. And Laura is still with me, too. A lot of people are still with me, which is awesome, but it makes me kind of emotional. So this was a non-billable project. building a half pipe in my backyard, or a quarter pipe. But it was great. It was for the kids, and it helped, me be creative. So another thing, I learned to do, like I said, is listening to God, and you need to seek Him out. And I learned to do that through going to the temple. Around the time I started Voltage, I was invited. It went really quick because I tell people, like, Voltage didn't just take off because I just decided to start it. It was because I had 7 years of struggling and working and figuring out what not to do. So I had an opportunity to meet with the founders of Smashburger in Denver when they first started, and I just was invited to go along on the meeting to support someone who was talking to them about data. But, I thought, this is an opportunity. So I designed a whole package and presentation around what their website should be and could be. And in the last 5 minutes of the meeting, I just slid it out in front of the founder, and I said, Tom, look at this. Your website's horrible. Like, you need to do this. And anyways, it was a week or two later that we got a call, and he said, hey, you know what? You're right. We need to change our website, and we're going to put an RFP out to all the agencies, and you're invited, which is great. But, it was 1-2 guys. So I spent the whole week eating at Smashburger, first of all, and I think it was around Thursday I walked in there and just turned around and walked out because you can only eat so many burgers, but I wanted to know everything they're offering, and then we put a great pitch together and actually presented it and won the count. So that was one of our first bigger accounts. We were able to hire some employees. Some other things I've learned was, so when I started Voltage, the previous company, I had a lot of different relationships and clients, and I had one who still a good friend today, but sorry. I don't know why this is hard to talk about. Just give me a second here. Sorry about that. I'm just getting really wimpy in my old age here. It was a client we worked for, and we had bought a photograph from Getty Images. And after I'd left, this client called me and said, hey, we're getting sued by Getty Images because you didn't buy us full rights to the image. You bought 6 months. And I think I told them that, but, I was like, yeah, let me look at my account. And sure enough, there was my name. I had bought it and given it to him, and they were charging him, they were suing him for a lot of money. And I just started Voltage. I didn't have any money. I was just trying to get it off the ground. And I remember thinking, well, I'm in a new company now. That was before. I really don't have any legal responsibility around this. But he was a good friend. And so I told him, hey, I'll pay for it. And sorry, because I knew it was the right thing to do. And he really appreciated that, and so he went back to his lawyers, and they got Getty to kind of make the bill a little smaller, and he ended up splitting it with me. And I don't know how I paid for it or whatever, but he became such a great client. It was like 2 weeks later, he gave us a big contract. That's what helped start my company, and ever since, I can almost tie half of the, half of the big deals we've done to that one moment. His partner went on to work at Reebok, called me and hired me. Reebok was bought by Adidas. Adidas hired us. So I tell you the story. I know, okay, thanks. I just tell you the story because it pays to do the right thing in everything, especially in business. You got to have that kind of long view and just know that it's never smart to just go for the quick money or kind of throw the other guy under the bus. The best businessman that I've gotten to know, and I've gotten to know quite a few, and great leaders are the ones that live by those values and those rules. And it's what's really made our business. Okay, done with that. Sorry. So yeah, we worked with Reebok. And then the other thing, I was thinking about this, how do you walk with God? And for me, at the same time, I was called as a scoutmaster. And that was a really hard calling to have when you have a bunch of little kids. My wife's being left at home for a week while I go take kids that really didn't want to go with me to a scout camp where they had to sing songs and do this stuff. But I ended up really just diving into it full force. And it's one of the best times, one of the best things I've done. And what's interesting is that I can count a lot of the other big accounts just from serving in my calling. So you make God's work your work, and you can engage in what He wants you to do, and He'll bless you with things that you'll be surprised of. This is our sons. All of them are Eagle Scouts now, and that was us, the Sand Dunes. But I was one of the sons of one of the. He wasn't the co-founder of Chipotle, but he was friends with one of the co-founders. Was in our ward, and I spent a lot of time camping with him, and that's what led to that relationship that we've had now for 6 years. One of our biggest clients. So, part of, I guess, the stories that I want to share with you guys is, if you make some, these priorities of keeping God a high priority in your life right now, doing the things that you think He wants to do, He can see the end from the beginning. So you wonder what your best life is. In your mind, you might think one thing, but Heavenly Father knows even better, and He even knows something better for you. I never thought I'd actually be running an ad agency like I'm doing. I always thought I'd be like a little weird designer in some little tiny closet just doing fonts. That wouldn't support a family. But it's been so much more fulfilling, and I've learned so much more. I've learned about leadership. I've learned about growing a team. I've learned about, mentoring people. I've learned about business, more business than I can shake a stick at. And everyone, has these great resumes, and mine's like, I did design school, but, I've learned through the school of hard knocks in a way. I've learned through experience. And because I always wonder sometimes why, this person who is running, Frontier Airlines would even want to talk to me, but it's because I have learned a lot. And, I've also been able to really focus in and hone in on my talent. And God's helped me do that, by trusting in Him, putting Him first in my life. And He's led me to do things that I would probably never done. And so just wanted to leave that with you guys. And also just, so again, back to the nitty gritty of everything. We had Frontier. We won them as a client last year. I just wanted to share a little bit about the pitch with them, because that was another thing where, business can, from the outside, always look good, but there's a lot of ups and downs. And I've been through a lot of them, so I'm kind of numb to a lot of it. I know how to weather it and take it on. And especially my wife, she gets tons of credit for what she did to support me. But we went into Frontier to pitch against some really big agencies as well. And we went 5 rounds. So if you're familiar with that, they give you a brief. You come in with your best kind of ideas, and all the agencies do, and they kind of narrow it down, and we have to present. And we finally got to present to the CEO, and we went in and presented to him. And we had this idea of Mother Nature. So the idea was to make Frontier the green airline, right? They've kind of been on a race to the bottom and in pricing. And so what can we do to differentiate them and make them stand out in this price war of airlines getting cheaper and cheaper? And they have a lot of new planes, and so they're a lot lighter, and so they do have the better footprint if you're going to fly on the environment. So we took that approach, and we presented them this idea of Mother Nature, and we brought it into the CEO, and hated it. He hated it. And we've gotten so far. It's always good to just get kicked out on the first round. You never want to be second, because it's a lot of money and a lot of time. And I was like, we are not going to lose this. So I kind of just said, what is it? Because we were finally talking face to face to him, and we got more insight from him. And we got to go back and pitch again. So we went back, much like the Smashburger thing. At that same time, I had to kind of scrap things and start over. Us pitching on Christmas Eve, or it was not Christmas Eve, it was like the Friday before Christmas was on Monday or Tuesday or something. And it was late at night, and we went in, and we had some great ideas. We said, well, Mother Nature then should be J.B. Sears. And he should, do his comedy. And it was really fun. And we presented this kind of concept of green as frontier, which pleasantly abbreviates to Green AF, which the CEO loved. He wanted something really edgy. Although when the board looked it up online, they said, no, you can't do that. But what we ended up doing was, a flight, the greenest flight, and we ended up winning the account. And that was another time where I remember just praying really hard and seeking some help and working really hard. And so, and we won. We came out of the meeting, with the pitch. He came in, and it was really interesting, kind of how he awarded it to us. But it was fun. Anyways, so, we help them launch the Kids Fly Free and things like that. So, I guess just wanted to share with you guys, a little bit. I mean, it's awesome that you're at this school, that it supports your faith and your beliefs. Take advantage of that. Again, get involved in God's work, because when you do that, He blesses you so much, and it helps you do things that you might not normally do on your own, and it helps you discover talents. Remember, you lose your life, you find it. So I would just encourage everyone to think of those things, and that's why I wanted to share these stories, because I can share them with you guys. I think you understand, where I'm coming from, and from the surface, things can look like, this has been an uphill trajectory, but there's been lots of ups and downs and a lot of growth, and it's all my faith and trust in God that's got me through it and actually blessed me and led me down this path, and I'm really grateful for that. And I wanted to just share that with you guys. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And also, we made a few graphics that we put on our website, some T-shirts, and they're free. So today, if you go put that code in on Voltage LTD, you can order a shirt. Yeah, there you go.